but I'm saying to bring in the world and America and me and whoever, and want us to then all go at her and cancel her is a bit much. That's all I'm saying. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to American Shade. It's Brittany King, your host and your girl. And today I'm going to be discussing two viral incidents that's happened this week. One in Arizona, the other in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the incident that happened in Brooklyn and Williamsburg. I'm going to watch the video and then I'm going to give my commentary on it.
Now to a disturbing incident in Brooklyn. A woman is accused of a racially motivated verbal attack against a couple in a dog park. CBS 2's Thalia Perez has the video that's sparking outrage on social media and an exclusive interview with the couple. It's a story you'll only see on 2.
Stay in our hood. That's it. I'm sorry, what?
Frederick Joseph was in disbelief, repeating the words he said were directed at him by a person in the park Saturday night. That woman, who we are not identifying or showing because she has not been officially identified, gave Joseph the finger and attempted to knock the phone out of his hand.
She's like, you're not from around here. Go back to your hood. Stay in your hood. Stay in your hood. So I'm like, stay in my hood, right? Like, you're being racist right now. She's like, I'm not being racist.
Joseph says that part of the confrontation was not caught on camera. He says the woman was upset because she confused his dog with another dog that was barking loudly.
I try to explain, like, I think you have the wrong dog. And then she just starts, like, going, like, completely out of left field. You know, at that point, I'm like, look, what you're doing is deeply, deeply offensive, deeply racist, and I want to get this on camera because I don't want there to be any misconceptions about what took place here.
She was saying a lot of things, and that's when, like, finally, like, you guys need to take your dog out of here. You people shouldn't even be here.
Steve Tracy was also at the park with his golden retriever and says he had just met Joseph and his fiancée, and they were all making small talk while the dogs ran around. He can also be seen at the end of the recording.
You were right here, watch this entire thing. Did she just not stand here and tell us to stay in our hood?
She did. Yeah, as those words were coming out and things started to unfold, it was pretty obvious to me, like, this is not okay.
Joseph, an author who has written a book called The Black Friend on being a better white person, first posted the video to Twitter, where it picked up steam almost immediately, with some offering support and others quickly working to track down the woman they labeled as a Karen. When asked for her response to the dog park incident, she had this to say.
No, thank you. No comment.
The woman has reportedly lost her job over the incident. Derek Anderson, the CEO of Bevy, believed to be her employer, was swift to take action, offering an apology to the couple and then announcing on Twitter, quote, yesterday, an employee engaged in behavior contrary to our values and has been terminated.
I think that it's important that people know that there are consequences for their actions.
In Williamsburg, Thalia Perez, CBS 2 News.
Just kidding. There's so many thoughts that comes to mind and that I've been thinking about over the past couple of days since this has transpired. But I think that this was an incident that could have been racial or it could have not been. But was that woman rude? Sure, rude as F. Let's just say that. But did she deserve to lose her job? No. That's really where the commentary should end, but I'm gonna keep going. The reason why I say that is because in this video and this encounter, there's a lot of things happening here. There's a lot of assumptions and there's a lot of misunderstandings. One, the woman is mad at that man because she thinks that's the dog that's been loud, that's been keeping her up, that's been keeping the neighborhood up. So she confronts him, says, get out of our hood, stay in your hood, etc. He then takes get out of our hood, stay in your hood as a phrase, a colloquialism, hood being like the projects together, where people think stereotypically Black people live. And he takes this phrase as casting him out of Williamsburg, a place where he shouldn't be. And he takes it racial and he takes it as something that's, the thing is, both of their realities are clashing here. And both of them are seeing it only from their side, obviously, because they're very energized with their emotions and they think that they're right in the situation. One, was she right for saying, get out of my hood or stay in your hood? No. Does she own Williamsburg? No. Who are you to tell someone that they can't be somewhere? Who are you to tell someone they can't stand, cannot walk their dog, cannot do et cetera, X, Y, and Z? And in a neighborhood that you pay rent at? No. So it was rude. What she said was rude. One could say that it was racially insensitive. One could say that she was underlining, throwing a racial epithet at him. One could say that. No one knows it for fact, but one could hold a case against that. You could also hold a case against that this might be language that she always uses. Who knows? But at the end of the day, the point is who knows? And the fact is this situation is not our business. This situation was the business between that man and his significant other, the other man in the park, and her, and the dogs. That's all the business needed to be. I feel like this was so out of proportion. But again, when you bring in the business that that person's attached to, whether it's a Karen or et cetera, then that business most likely is going to fire that person, not because of morals, but because of money. They want to keep their brand. They want to keep their business afloat. So why would they not get rid of an employee that might be a liability to them? And this is a really unfortunate occurrence because the things that should be highlighted and the things that we should be focusing on and the things that are really, really important that society needs to know about, that culture needs to know about, is not getting acknowledged. And also the whole danger, the whole trauma thing is getting desensitized day in and day out.
So I was just told that Bevy has terminated Emma Sarley after her racist attack against my fiance and I in the dog park. And while it's unfortunate that she had to lose her job, I do think that this brings up an important conversation about accountability, especially in a country where Black and brown people, marginalized people as a whole, have seen so little of it oftentimes, right? Having to bear the burden of racism, sexism, homophobia, et cetera, I think that it's important that people know that there are consequences for their actions, right? And I don't think that it's up to victims to have to coddle, people who are engaging in abuse. When I woke up yesterday morning, I didn't expect to have to be a part of this conversation. I didn't expect to go to the dog park as a Black person and have to receive, racism. So while again it is unfortunate what happened, I hope that Emma learns from this. I hope that other people learn from this who engage in abusive, racist, and destructive behavior, because ultimately, whether Emma lost her job or not doesn't take away the trauma that my fiance and I have. It doesn't take away the feeling of feeling like anything racist can happen anywhere. So I don't think that people should be coddled, and I do think that consequences are important. So hopefully this is a learning lesson for everybody.
So what I think he thought was going to happen was this was going to go viral in a good way, that this was going to go viral where people were going to be backing him up and championing him. But some people came out that I thought was shocking against him, more so against his actions, more so with him being kind of tone deaf to the situation, that perhaps this was something that just sucked and shouldn't happen to you, but this was not a situation that called her to lose her livelihood over. You know what I mean? And in no way am I trying to be insensitive to that man. I'm not trying to say, you should take it and just shut up. And no, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying he should have said something to her there, and he did. But I'm saying to bring in the world and America and me and whoever, not necessarily like me, but just like all of us, right? Whoever viewed it and want us to then all go at her and cancel her is a bit much. That's all I'm saying. Like I said, I was kind of shocked by a lot of the reactions that were backing up the firing of this woman. And one of those people were Nicole Hannah-Jones. I know Nicole Hannah-Jones gets a lot of flack for her 1619 project that she did with the New York Times. I personally do not hold those types of qualms against her, but I do think that she was probably the last person I thought would say something for the woman. I'll be honest. And I actually retweeted something on Twitter, King Talissa, if you want to follow me. And it's by this professor, Professor Bailey, that's his information. And he said, this doesn't feel like a proportionate consequence for the offense. An angry encounter between strangers in the park doesn't need to be resolved this way. And I retweeted this, and this got a lot of retweets by so many different types of people with different political stances. And this is where Nicole Hannah-Jones commented her thoughts on this post. And she said, yeah, this didn't sit right with me and does not seem like an ethical use of one's platform. This almost got more retweets than the original tweet. So overall, I think that someone said it best on Twitter that stuff like this, canceling people like this, is anti-work. People always say do the work. Well, this is anti-doing the work. This is not going to build race relations. This is not seeing someone's humanity. Now, if it needs to go to the person's employer and they need to be fired, then fine. But little things like this, and I don't mean to minimize it being like little, like, you know what I mean? But to say that this was trauma, he exaggerated a bit to say that this was trauma. Because I know people that's gone through real racial trauma and has just gone through trauma, period. And I mean, I'm not gonna get into it, but trauma that I've even been through, it's pretty insensitive just to be like, this was trauma. To say this was traumatizing, it's pretty insensitive. And if this is trauma to your life, then you've had a blessed one. Next video that I want to discuss is the one that happened at Arizona State University, where there were two white students that were confronted by two women who I guess are social justice activists, I think just in general, and then also in their college. They filmed these two boys and it went viral. So let's just watch that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
What did I do wrong?
You have a better.
You're offensive. Police lives matter?
You have the same sticker.
We're just trying to do school.
What?
You guys have the same sticker of the other.
But this is our space.
We've got a Police Lives Matter sticker and we're getting kicked out. Can't do school. You just said we have to leave.
No, I said.
You're making the space uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable.
But you're white. Do you understand what a multicultural space? It means you're not being centered.
White's not a culture?
No.
No, it's not a culture. It's white is not a culture. Say it again to the camera. You think whiteness is a culture?
This is insane.
So anyways, this is the violence that ASU does, and this is the type of people that they protect. Okay, this white man thinks he can take up our space, and this is why we need a multicultural space, because they think they can get away with this shit.
I'm gonna sit here the whole time and you can find somebody to kick me out.
That's cool. We will.
We're not kicking you out. We're asking you to leave if you have any consideration for people of color and our marginalization.
So clearly don't.
That I can go?
Yeah, the whole rest of the campus, the second floor, the first floor, the whole MU, every single part of the campus centers you. This is the only space that you're not centered, and you're still trying to center yourself, which is peak white cis male bullshit.
You're not.
You are racist. Your sticker is racist because police, that's a job. You can choose to be a police. I don't choose to be black. Okay? No, you can choose to be a cop. You can choose to kill people with a badge, and you're protecting that shit, which means that you're racist.
I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to defend you guys.
I know, but this offends us automatically because these people kill people like me and like us, right? So you're promoting our murderers. So please just don't do that.
Thank you.
So why should that bother you?
Because, do you understand that Police Lives Matter was in response to Black Lives Matter.
I pay the same fucking tuition as you.
Yep.
Hold on, but
Yeah, that's fine. And you have everywhere. You have.
I'm working 60 hours a week while going to school because my parents don't just give me money.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, it doesn't matter. You have a second floor.
My skin doesn't
Bullshit.
matter.
Fuck you. Or you. I don't care about what color your skin is.
You can get out of here if you're going to be yelling at people because
You're
they're
yelling
trying.
This is our space.
I don't care.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it there. A lot of things are happening here, clearly. Kids. Okay, so I'm just gonna take a different route of what everyone else is doing. There's people either on the side of the two white students or people on the side of the two minority students. So let me just say there's a lack of common sense on both sides. Let me explain. The students who approached these two boys, obviously lack of common sense and ignorant, for telling them that they have to leave because of their skin color, telling them they have to leave because of their assumptions of who they are based on what political ideology they were wearing on their shirts or their had on their computers or book bags or whatever they have. That's ignorant. That's wrong. The boys coming into a multicultural center where it's probably going to be a lot of liberal leaning people, where social justice people could be there most likely, to wear that, to not think you'd be confronted whether in this way or a more minute way, is also ignorant. Now, I'm not saying, and lack of common sense. Now, I'm not saying that they can't wear what they want to wear. I'm not saying that. I am a proponent for free speech. I think that they can wear whatever they want. Those women also can wear what they want. Those women, if they're in BLM shirts or they're in whatever type of social justice messaging that they want to be in, they can do whatever they want. Those boys can do whatever they want. But if you go into a space where that's probably not going to be welcome, it's not to say you don't deserve to be there, but it's to say don't be shocked when you're confronted by people that do not hold the same political views as you. Now, one might say, Brittany, not all minorities and Black people, my voice. You might say, Brittany, not all minorities and Black people are Democrat, are liberal. I know I'm one of them because I'm not liberal or Republican or conservative or Democrat. I know I am them. But I'm saying that most likely a minority person, a non-white person, perhaps someone that is a conservative minority who probably doesn't hinge or discuss or like the whole race talk element to life, so to speak, will not be a part of a multicultural space. I'm just going to say that. That's an assumption. So that's why I'm assuming, because multicultural spaces are nothing new, just so people know. And they're nothing new on college campuses. They're nothing new in high schools. Though when I was a part of them, like in high school, like, God, 10 years ago? No, way more than that. Wow. I'm old. Like what, 2004 to 2008? It was a multicultural space, but again, like really anyone can go. It wasn't just like that. It was just a chill space for people that, you know, you might share the same nationality with, ethnicity with, in a school or a college that is predominantly white. And then you guys can come to this space where there's people that might be sharing the same experience as you in classes, because you might be the only Black person, the only Hispanic person. And now you're in this space where you're not the only Black person, you're not the only Hispanic person. Like those were the purposes of multicultural spaces. You know, when I was in school, that was the vibe. It was just like, you're just not alone. But now this is Twitter. Like this confrontation is Twitter, people. And this is just a reflection of the culture that's outside of those walls. So universities reflect the culture that's happening in the country. That's just how it is. Someone did have a question and posed this on Twitter, I believe, or on, I don't know if it was Twitter or Instagram, but someone had a question, would they have been confronted that way if they weren't in that shirt or they didn't have the Police Lives Matter signage on the computer? Like, what if they're just two white guys just sitting there? Would they be confronted this way? To be honest, I don't think they would have been, they wouldn't have been confronted that way at all. The thing is it was the message that they had, and those women, I guess, felt that they were being insensitive to the space. But the way they went about it was completely wrong. And to say that someone can't be in a space because of their skin color is like the antithesis of the reason why you would want a multicultural space. Like, it doesn't make sense. One, I want to say that one of these women, I believe it's the woman behind the camera, her dad, I read an article where her father, I believe is from Ghana, and he fled because of certain violence, racial violence that was taking place there. I'm going to link the article, and then I'll probably have something scrolling here maybe, or pictures, who knows. So she actually was quoted in the article saying, like, I have the privilege of being able to fight, this continuous fight for equality and equity and, you know, justice, knowing that I'm not going to be fighting the same fight that my father had, where he could have died, where he most likely was, where he was supposed to die. She has the same energy, this I don't want to say martyr syndrome, because I feel like that's patronizing, because I don't know her. To her, I think she feels like it might be honor to carry that, and then to carry that into every space she goes to. Not to say she does this, right, anywhere she goes. I'm not saying that. But if she sees a racial injustice in her perception, she's going to call it out. That she can't let anything go unnoticed or unconfronted. That she has to call it out. Like, I'm narrating her voice and her life as if I know her, but I'm just saying, assuming what I think might be true, this is what I think might be true. I think it's very important for people to gain context of people's lives before you make an assumption of someone. And I'm not saying necessarily in the moments it's happening, like, could they go and be like, let me Google you first before I like really let you have it? No, obviously you can't do that in the moment. But for us observing, for us judging, for us about to hit that cancel button so the speaker gets someone fired, it's very important, I believe, to do your due diligence and to really look at the backgrounds of people and get a sense of who they are, and get a sense of why would they do this. And after I read that article, I'm like, that is exactly why she'd do this to them. That's exactly why she'd do it, and feel justified for doing it. Like, she had no problem turning that camera back on her and showing her face. She thinks she did something good. Like, she was proud of it. She felt like she was doing her duty. And I think that there needs to be, for me, an element of compassion for someone who might not understand what they're doing isn't the right way, but they do think it is. You know what? It's easier to empathize with people when you know their background. And I think perhaps that might be why people don't. Because sometimes I don't think people want to empathize with people. It gets in the way of what they want to do, which is attack them. And then you got to understand, why are you attacking them though? Are you attacking them, or are you attacking another problem that's in your life that you're not confronting? So instead of confronting that, you're going to confront them. Like, instead of confronting the fact that you have issues in your marriage, or issues with your loved one, or issues with a friend that's really weighing heavy on you and your heart for days, weeks, years, instead of taking care of that, I'm going to find ways to challenge a Democrat and just go after Democrats always on Twitter, or go after Republicans always on Twitter and say they're the problem when you have 500 problems in your life and you're not taking care of any of that. So instead of taking care of the 500 problems, you attack 500 people. Like, it's so clear to see how miserable some people are. And I'm not, at this point, I'm not talking about really anyone in this video. Generally, it's so easy to see how miserable people are by the way they will treat other people. Now, this is not to say if someone treats you bad that you should take it as if standing up to them is some way a reflection of how you are harboring hate. No, you should stand up for yourself. I champion that. But to go after people on Twitter and just always being Twitter beefs and you have things that's going on with yourself that you have yet got to the bottom of. So instead of attacking Timmy and Tiffany online, you need to go into yourself and understand, why do you want to attack them? And you don't even know them. You know nothing about them but their Twitter handle and their bio that can only fit like 20 words. But yeah, I wanted this to be a shorter video, and obviously it's not, but comment your thoughts, your comments. What do you think this says about our culture and how things are going? Like, it feels like things are very extreme, obviously, but the fact that this is happening, it's like people are gaining some sense on, okay, perhaps canceling and getting people fired isn't quite always right. Like, maybe we need to reassess. Maybe we need to reflect. Maybe there's something actually deeper we're missing here. I'm always having a little bit of hope. Cynical, but hope. All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. And there's more American Shade on the way. Peace, love, less shade.